Alright, so we're getting cracking on the build of the TrailFinder 2. This is the short wheelbase model that I just picked up before Christmas. So to crack it out of the package here. And if you haven't seen that done, I have an unboxing video, so check that out. Here we're just going to rush through this here, get all our parts out. And on to the build. And as always, these RC4WD drive kits, the majority of it's done. You're pretty much just assembling the chassis and throwing the components on there. So, right, throw the tires aside, open up all the little bags with the hardware and whatnot. Make it easy to access. And again, follow your guide very closely. Everything is documented in there. All your parts bags are broken apart, so you know exactly what size hardware. No need for calipers and things as such. Alright, so here we're going to start off with the leafs. So if I'm not mistaken, I think the proper name for these are the Shackles. So we're going to assemble the Shackles. So we have one plate each side, a screw that goes into the center, and a nut on the opposite side to lock that together. Use our driver here, make it a little bit quicker. Done. Alright, so now same thing, the opposite side for the front. Trying to get the light to focus, or the light in there so that we can focus properly. We'll get it. Alright, now if we can ever get that light proper, we're going to work on the back piece of the shackle. So this will be a stationary mount, and only the front moves. And again, sorry about that. I'm trying to adjust the light so we can get it nice and clean here. Alright, so put the two pieces together, screw that into the chassis, leave it loose at the beginning so you can get the opposite side in without too much fuss. Alright, so we'll be doing the same for the rear. Two screws gets that done. And finish the other one up off camera. Alright, so now all our cross member piece, that's the servo mounting portion, another cross member piece, two for the rear. Screw that into place here, and we'll be back. Alright, so now the trans. So we're going to get the brace pieces out. You got one each side. This one here has two screws. Lock that into place. And the opposite one here, same thing, but a little bit tricky given that there's a lip over it. You'll see in a second here. So this one you almost have to come in at an angle to get it in. But that is it. We are secure. So now I'm going to slap that into the chassis. Alright, so I'm going to line things up here. Make sure we're clean, not rubbing out nothing. Alright, it's easier to put the screw in on the side. Alright, so there's that portion of things. Now we're ready for the centerpiece where our, I keep forgetting, transfer case, transfer case. Usually it's all in one, but in these kits it's two pieces. Alright, so the opposite side of the chassis rail, the frame rail should I say. Get that into place. You have two screws in the back, two in the front, as well as two more in the cross member piece where the transfer case will be sitting. Let's snug that up here. Alright. Now for the centerpiece. Alright, last one, and we are done. Sorry, we need a smaller one for the trans. There we go. And now we are done with that. Okay, so Next piece here that we will work on is the I guess it's a drive shaft, but the coupler from the trans over to the transfer case. Slip that into place, a little bit of wiggling, falls in perfect. Get the grub screw, as always, thread lock, everything's metal to metal here, there's not much plastic. Lined up. Snug that down. Perfect. And for the transfer case, you have 2 screws in the bottom to secure that. We'll finish that up off camera. Alright, so here we have the front piece for the chassis where the body will attach to. And that will be 2 screws that attaches the bottom of the body, should I say, sorry. And here is the rear, so these are the small body posts. Thread lock into place. And that's going to be on the rear, and then the body's just going to snap up over, and body pins will secure that into place. Alright. That's done. One more here. And now on to the shock hoops. 2 for the rear, 2 for the front, and they're very well marked on the book, so you can tell the rear ones are shorter in general. You do have a short back leg and a longer front leg, but it's still part of the back shock hoop, which is shorter. You'll see as we do the front, it is a much taller mount. So 2 screws gets that into place. And digging out the front ones here. There we go. Right away you can see it's much longer. 2 screws there. 2 screws on this side here. Now we get to work on those axles. So here, those are the leaf spring helpers, what they're called. So they got a bend to them, so it gives the leaf itself an arc. Get that into place, line up our screws here. Sorry, it's not exactly on camera, just to fidget everything in. And then we'll bring it in. Alright, so there we go. So now we get to screw that onto the axle. 2 screws gets that into place. We're going to do the exact same thing for the opposite side. And here we have the steering link that goes from one knuckle to the other. Get that into place because, again, the stuff is doable, but it gets harder as you go because everything is mounted onto the chassis. You got to pre-plan these things. Alright, so for the chassis itself, flip it over, makes it easier. I'm going to screw that into the rear helpers. These happen to be a little bit snug, so I have to take the pliers to them and open them up just a tad bit. Alright, so here, screw that goes across, a nut in the back, same thing on the opposite side. And for the front, there's a moving shackles. So again, easy, but you got to hold on to the shackles to get everything in play. Put the nut there because it will fall out. And we'll snug everything up off of camera. Alright, we're good there. So now, on to the shocks. So we're going to mount the shock to the axle. Not mistaken, I think that's 16 mil screw. And then for this one here, I'll put a nut on the opposite side. I know that it's threaded in, so you don't need the nut, but this way, make sure that it doesn't come off on the trails. Sometimes the stuff likes to vibrate itself apart. Alright, so one screw up top. It gets that side done. There you go. We got all the axles onto the chassis. Nice flex, a lot softer than my original TrailFinder. It only came with 1 leaf. Usually the other ones have a mixture of them, or a few. So sorry about that. I started working on the rear drive shaft. Didn't pay attention to my screen, and I was off. But once we get that done, you'll see the front one will be on in focus. Alright, so as always, throw in your grub screw. It's going to hold your drive shaft in place. Same thing for the rear. I should mention these are steel, whereas the original TrailFinder and the Galan were plastic, but these are all steel, so I'm happy about that. One less upgrade. So we got that into place. Now for our electronics tray, 4 screws, and you get that into place, and that's where we're going to mount the electronics as entitled by the name, and the battery is going to be back there. And now on to these, I think they're mud thrashers, I always forget. 1.9s. So first off, you have to take the hex because these go directly into the drive pin, so no hex is required. Snug that up. Same for the front. Alright, we'll finish the rest off of that off camera, and we'll be back with a finished product. And there it is, the TrailFinder 2 short wheelbase. I do not own my other TrailFinder anymore. I do a lot of trading, so unfortunately I can't put it beside it, but I can guarantee you that it's much, much shorter. It looks nice. I love the fact that I'm going to be able to go with that Jeep hardbody. So this, again, other than the wheelbase, very, very similar to the TrailFinder 2. It does not have the 2-speed trans, and again, that I'm assuming due to the short wheelbase, there's not enough room in there. But that might be something we look into it later. But for now, this is what I got. I'm very happy with it. As of all my as all my RC4WD drive rigs. Very nice. Extremely scale. Get a good look at the underneath here. And again, like I said, other than the spur on this, I'm trying to think, but I think the spur is the only plastic piece. Everything else is all metal. So to me, I don't think you can go wrong with that. But anyways, we'll leave you with that. Should be on the trails with this guy soon. Guys, thanks for watching. Please thumbs up and subscribe.